So how'd it go? Well, how should I put this? Didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to a door is because I chased that scarecrow of a platinum plan through hell and back. Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for these G-hogs. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. But you did find a psychiatrist's office? Sort of. They said they were in the place that, looked the part? Why, because they had couches? She didn't get past the receptionist. Sorry, I thought because you were with the company. No, I wanted to help. I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks, the furniture, did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone or just getting his CCE training recertified. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing, she only cares about results. You did more than enough, both of you. At the very least, they divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean it, good work, Fran. And thanks for the urgency. If you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30%'s the going rate in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab? I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no! Signal must have cut out. Right. Surprised it took them this long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR. But today, you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right in the state's crosshairs. I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court. On a strict timeline though, right? I guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus, but they'll gladly lose your guest pass ID at every door along the way. There are still service passageways and stairwells, guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated, but I use my other skill set to get around. So take mine. What? Your pass? I'll tell them we got ours mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need to be. I never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career, I can be a pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble, too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Osher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him. Since he kept on forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should try a new field. This detective work stuff is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something? You did say cops are all lazy. A girl with managerial skills could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you. Morgan, how did you get so turned around? God only knows. Lucky I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face. Right. Listen, Morgan, I'm not sure that I should actually be talking to you without legal present. Oh. I mean, leadership hasn't even told us how David died. How much help could I be? I see. It's not that I don't trust you or anything, it's just, I think, what with the Sarah issue, you should do whatever you have to protect yourself, Dawes. Yeah. Though, for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be in any trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. No, if anything, it's the big names who are going down. Going down? The state was practically licking its lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood, and looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh. What, like, fines and jail time? In the first 2 weeks, sure. Then sanctions. They can't sanction Noble. We're too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. And that's how they'll justify nationalizing the company. I think I'm gonna be sick. I just hope your board goes quietly instead of what? Scapegoating. Offering up smaller names on silver platters. Full cooperation and government oversight on the surface. A slaughter beneath as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? Uh, and if the public's lost faith in the M16, they can't do a recall, not at this scale. The state will make them do a flat refund. Flat refund? The losses would be... Yeah, your board probably just wants Sarah to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but one they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. That's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI, David Osher was always of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the M16. Everyone wins! Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one who approved Sarah's registration. You win. Win what? Ask away. Well, if you insist. Humor me for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Same as any rational company that wants to make money. We don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. We spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk, because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are. Because they use Tesseract. Trying to code an AI in TESS is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Sarah was running on Tesseract yesterday. If the language is as safe as you say, isn't that proof enough? Proof of nothing. For an AI lying to another system with the code you're running is child's play. And for an AI built by David Osher, something that simple would be... Better change the subject. Wait, so making an AI takes more than time and resources? It isn't an issue of funding? No, you can't just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you'll topple. You make it sound like building an AI is impossible, even for David Osher. Any chance you'll testify to that? It sounds impossible, but he's dead and it looks like it was his android that did it, so I guess he was just that good. Better than you'll ever know. Noble spent months promoting the A16 as the culmination of David Osher's work. So now that marketing line is suddenly a huge liability. Can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but it's designed for synthetic motor neurons. That was the big one. The components that allow your warm androids to move realistically? And push the timetable for warm androids ahead by years. And yet compared to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits that his private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, they would feel that he had been holding out on them. And the company, they were appreciative of his contributions. I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased, but the board was very enthusiastic. So would that spur them to be protective of David? Or would they fear that he was gaining too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No, they need a strong motive to justify killing their golden goose. Mere paranoia isn't enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is... compromised? They stayed up all night sick with dread at the idea. But the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. And the A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there were an issue, we would have caught it by now. And I would have been axed a long time ago. How many A16s are out there anyway? We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 or 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data? Yeah, I practically got the spreadsheet seared into my retinas. What do you want to know? What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen, mostly hardware complaints it looks like. Batteries running out too quick, eye tracking off by a degree or 2. Typical stuff? As cliched as it sounds, 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. So no killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern look like? They're distributed like you would expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have most of both. And since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell outside population centers. They can do the rural hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals, offices, and, adult industries. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to be blunt, No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee. There are a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it, but I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What we call it when a customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair. Oh, very high turnover in the pink market. Hasn't stopped you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell to them, not directly. But there are resellers, and the company's never pretended to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought I read that Right to Repair got shut down again. There's been a gray market for softer androids for years, for decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sales numbers I've seen, RTR getting cam is barely a blip on their radar. Sorry. Didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with this topic. Huh? Me? No, I don't care. I just realized my left sock's not inside out. Damn, now I'm wondering about that myself. You bought that? This store's basically a showroom, but you have a real factory a while south of the city limits, correct? Yeah, biggest company manufacturing complex in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out of there? Anything stand out? There's some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. Might sound early to get started now, but we usually see... Huh. Something wrong? No, the numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? Well, this section is just a count of how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for errors, so there shouldn't be much need for corrections. It's no problem, though. I can view the edit history and see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added? Deleted? No, the overall sum's the same. It's just a bunch of swaps. Like here. 29FFCE010311 taken out, returned for adjustments. 27FCDD019634 substituted in. Shipment leaves on time. 67BBTC899543 returned to assembly for revisions, replaced by 67BBTD 592698. Shipment leaves on time. So does all that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. To spot individual unit imperfections among a shipment at that stage in the process. It must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority, probably both. Must have? You don't know who made these changes? I can tell you they were somebody important. Small last-minute changes to which androids got shipped out. Not very juicy on its own, and it's a long ways away from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden, and that means someone didn't want it found. Okay, thanks for sharing that data. Sure, did you find what you're looking for? Hell if I know. Fair enough. I know you're convinced the tenants are safe. So how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind. Is the dog to the left or to the right? I'd say the dog is on the right. The cat is on the left. You might expect half of you to say left, half to say right. But actually, their answer is almost entirely dependent on their native tongue, whether it's read right to left or left to right. The language they speak affects how they process information. Their language affects how they think. And it's the same for machines. People can learn new languages and it can change our perspective, but machines can't learn a new source code. Every update's a reincarnation. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because a 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah, unnecessarily cruel. Any other questions before I go find a hole to hide my head in? I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry's a little outside my purview. What is this? A compound found in David Osher's blood. Poison? What is it? It didn't match anything in any database the medical examiner had access to. That's crazy. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it's a match for anything in Noble's internal databanks. We, don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish. No, but this is the factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You'd still have hazardous materials around. You think it was something industrial? I suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. Not exactly. What is it? It doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 52345S. The synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. Serotonin. That explains a lot. A neurotransmitter would interact directly with the nervous system, in David's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why it was a preset in his personal manufacturer. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. So they think that was what killed him? Helen Young led the development of serotonin, didn't she? Ah, yes, she did. I should go and ask her about his competition, then. Normally someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago. But she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented. That works out nicely, then. They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink at a 15-minute stand-up. I heard a rumor that she once said bathroom breaks are timesheet theft. Aren't they? I'm kidding. But you should be careful about criticizing a superior when people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office. Uh-huh. No one but the two of us listening in. Thanks for cooperating, Dawes. When the state storms the building and starts zip-tying people, I'll let them know you were helpful. Yeah, nice joke. You are joking, right? Actually, there is one more thing I wanted to ask you. What's that? How long have you been a corporate spy? What? Yesterday you let it slip that you worked in consulting. Had your guard down because I'm not part of the industry? I was a consultant. What are you talking about? When I walked in here, you said you didn't know how David died. But just now you called serotonin a poison. What? I just assumed if a chemical is found in a dead man. And I'm sure you have got practiced answers to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say this. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people? Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence with. No, it's not entirely an act these days. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consulting. 4 quarters of internal affairs spy hunting at the Western Division, then 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. So you're a spy for Noble? Retired. You're working 6 days a week. 5.5 days a week, and in quality assurance. Trust me, this position is a cushy, generous reward for my past services. Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on. I have some old inboxes I still check. So can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Why, I'm the one investigating David's death while your old co-workers are off twiddling their thumbs? It's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion. Blood, not oxygen. He's finally shooting straight. Did something happen to him afterwards? Did the transfusion not last? No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier and he did get injured, but it was on a base during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away for the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous live test. His life was never in any danger. Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker. Not even a good photo op, which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got a hold of the story, started puffing it up, astroturfing, painting it over socials and virals. By the next morning we had the military thing, we're leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media is bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data. And the state's praising our tech with one side of their mouth while threatening to miss us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble CCE has been slammed ever since, trying to find an off-ramp for the story we can walk back the claims on without torpedoing our state contracts. I don't know what happened to Osher, whether it was AI gone rogue or company infighting gone too far, but I can tell you it wasn't done by consultants. Is that all you wanted to know? You work in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist, or was it all cloak and dagger bullshit? I know that office. I know some old co-workers who see them. So it's a front? They do both. So he was probably getting training, and he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for? Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I expected was... You okay? That's all. Unless you've got any advice. You're saying you want a consultation. Couldn't hurt, right? This company, all these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them. Well, that's just business as usual for me.